Alright, so today I'm going to talk about how politics are destroying politics, if that makes sense. So politics in general sometimes form ridges in relationships or families. It's often something you don't like to talk about at the dinner table, but I feel like you should be able to talk about anything at the dinner table. So I attribute this to party affiliation, things like that. In an interview with Ty Lopez, he interviewed a political analyst named Ben Shapiro. And Ben Shapiro uses the term tribalistic characteristics to describe Republicans versus Democrats. So you have your different tribes located in different areas. This is often found in African countries, and back in the day, that's how things used to be more often. But this is kind of how politics is viewed nowadays. And so because of this reason, parties are making the United States less unified. Parties are making the country weaker in turn because there's divisions everywhere, and Abraham Lincoln once said that a house divided cannot stand, so that's also something that people are attributing to this problem. So imagine you're driving down the road and you saw a Trump sign in front of someone's house. Automatically you will always think of all these things that this person might be like, because that's how people that vote for Trump are like. So this is the best case scenario to describe tribalistic political parties. So once you drive past and see that sign, a dark cloud kind of goes over that house, and you're like, those people I do not want to know about because you don't like Trump and things like that. So if this continues, if you continue to categorize yourself into a political party, you'll be assigned to a group that you don't 100% relate with. And so you will not feel good about yourself sometimes because you'll be drawn in with all these bad people, and you'll be associated with people that you don't actually like. You just share a political party with them. So the solution to this is to not affiliate yourself with a political party. That is the solution I'm offering to help the country be more unified. And so if there's less party affiliation, then the issues at hand that are really important will be discussed more progressively. I feel like people won't have the mindset of I'm going to be smarter than you, or I'm going to be right or wrong. The issues will be resolved more often. So a practical scenario for this is if you were to not affiliate yourself with a party and you went to a voting poll in 3 years when you vote for the 2020 election and you see the check all for Republican or check all for Democrat, don't do that. Don't do that at all. You should know who you're voting for just based off of what their ideas and stuff are, rather than voting just because they are in a certain party. So again, if there is less party affiliation, the country will be more unified, and especially it will take down the barriers that divide groups of people in this country. So I feel like one of the areas in your life where you're least tribalistic is in elementary school. Everybody is kind of just in a class, and you're friends with everybody. You share your crayons with everybody. You don't really care who's who. So that's we kind of need to have that mindset when we grow up. So I think kids are the best example of that. Citizens are actually becoming less dependent on one another. Back in the day, I took a class with David Murphy, a professor at Anderson University, and he once said that back in the day, the tribes didn't murder each other, or they tried to heal each other because each person had carried their own weight, and if one person died, then that can affect everyone else. So nowadays, I feel like that is not the case at all, and people don't really care what other people do, and I think that should be taken into account more often. And again, party affiliation obstructs politics from operating at its full capacity. So if there's less party affiliation, then the government can improve its policies and reforms much better. So when people ask you what party do you belong to, what do you identify with, I would recommend that you don't affiliate yourself with anybody. Don't even say, oh, I like Republicans for this reason or that, because then they sometimes automatically put you in that bucket. So I would recommend not affiliating with Republicans and Democrats and things like that. I would also recommend not saying you're independent, because that's also another group that Republicans and Democrats view as people that just ruin the elections, people that just take away the votes from them. And so if you say you're independent, sometimes that's another group that isn't even a Republican and Democrat, it's just independent. And so the fact that that's even a group is very sad. So try not to use big names that is an umbrella. So I believe in policies and reforms but I don't participate in the tribal warfare, especially on Twitter. A lot of people get into Twitter battles and they talk behind their phones, but that's not really a good place to discuss things. I feel like you should definitely talk about issues, but Twitter and social media is not a good place to do it. So the last thing I want to ask you guys is, are you a donkey, an elephant, or a human?